last chapter, different kinds of credit, this chapter, different kinds of consumer loans. And basically, we should be able to do a simple interest calculation. You should know how to do a discounted loan and calculate the APR. We worked on installment loans when we were mucking around in Excel for most of last class period, right? Those are installment loans. And then the one that you haven't looked at is an add-on. So these are just different kinds of consumer loans. So all of them, they've got to give you some information, right? What's the principal? What's the rate? What's the term? So Gabe, if I'm asking you to just do a simple interest loan and my principal is $7,000 and the rate is 5.4% and the term is 18 months, what am I going to do? Well, first off, what is simple interest, Gabe? Does it compound? Do I tack it on?
It doesn't. You just multiply it by your principal.
Okay, so give me what to plug in Excel. Equals
7,000.
Yeah.
And then it's out of 12 months, right? Like you have 18 months, but you want to do out of a year.
So this, just to clarify, you guys, whenever I give you a rate, that's always an APR, an annual rate, but it's under your T where you convert it to, 1 month or 5 years or whatever.
Think you would multiply 5.4 by 1.5 and then multiply all that together.
Yeah, 7,000 times my rate, always quoted as an APR, and my T is 18/12. In a simple loan, there is no compounding. There are no payments for 18 months. So, Asher, how much am I repaying when I pay back this loan?
Don't you do, so like 567 divided by 7,000 and it's 8.1%?
I think all I've got to do, my question is, how much do I owe the bank at the end of this loan?
Oh, okay. So it's just $567, isn't it?
Well, do I have to give them the original principal back?
Oh, yeah. So 7,000 plus that.
They would be very surprised if you only came with $567.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Shasta, can you explain what a discounted note is just in general? What is it?
Unmute myself. It's when you take the principal of what you pay and you subtract your payment each time and then you calculate it.
That's an installment loan.
Oh. Okay.
Kate, what's a discount loan?
I'm not sure.
We did one really quickly last time. Let's go back to that. I'm going to tell you what it is again, and then we'll go take a look at a slide and work it. A discounted loan, if I wanted to borrow, if I want my note, my loan, my principal would be $7,000. They're going to calculate the interest up front. They're going to subtract it from the $7,000. And then they're going to give me a check for some amount that's smaller than $7,000. They get their interest up front. And then, Philip, how much do I have to repay him at the end of the loan?
The principal minus the interest.
They give me the principal minus the interest. And then at the end of the loan, I pay him back the $7,000. So they give me some amount like, $6,429. And then I pay him back $7,000. So what's the difference, Carson, between the 6429 and the 7,000? That is my what?
That's your interest.
That's my interest. I've just prepaid it. And we have to figure out how to calculate the APR with that, because it's not going to be, it's not going to be quite as simple as what we did here. So let's come back to that one. Installment loan. Alexis, can you describe an installment loan for us? What is an installment loan?
Or isn't that what Shasta just said? It's where you, it's like the sum of each repayment, like the several payments, the sum of them.
So what happens? So give me an example of an installment loan. What would be the easiest example any of us know of an installment loan? You borrow money to buy what?
A car,
A car.
a vehicle.
I need $13,529 to buy, you know, a used SUV. And then every month they calculate a payment. And every month, what happens to my principal? Right? It goes down every single month. A portion of the payment goes to what? Anybody?
Interest.
Interest. And what doesn't go to interest goes to
Principal.
principal. So you have to calculate the interest first. So for example, same $7,000 loan. What else do you need to ask me, Alexis, about this loan?
The rate.
So the rate, let's see, my rate's 6 1/4. What else do you want to know?
How long you'll be paying it off for?
Yep. And then lastly, you've got to know how, you know, often I'm paying, but you're going to just assume monthly on an installment loan, unless it's something weird. Okay. So let me circle back around. Who haven't I asked? Michaela, how do I figure out the payment on my installment loan? And you can just tell me what you think I should put in here into Excel. I start with an equal sign.
Okay, I'm trying to remember because this was the amortization table we were doing.
So the amortization table is going to run out all 60 payments for us.
Yeah,
But first, I just want to really simply be like, can I even afford this? What's my monthly payment going to be?
right. And
Anybody
it's,
remember? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Michaela. I'm asking if anybody can help her, or should I do this again?
Yeah, or would you, this is just a guess, would you calculate the interest and then would you divide it by the amount of months?
So that's kind of what happens behind the scenes. We're gonna write a function, is what they're called in Excel, equals PMT. And then we're gonna open our parentheses, which tells Excel that we're getting ready to write a, you know, we're getting ready for it to perform math. And then it goes down and it tells me exactly what it wants. It wants the rate, comma, the number of periods, comma, the principal. If I'm paying monthly, let me just back out of here so you can see all this. If I'm paying monthly, Carson, what do I put for my first field for interest?
What do you mean the first field?
So I've got to enter 3 pieces of data, right? Interest, comma, number of periods in the loan, comma, principal.
So the first one would be the 0.00625.
Yep, but this is, you can't stop there. Why not?
Because then you've got to do the months.
Right, but on the interest
Oh.
itself, you're not paying 6 1/4 a month. That's your APR. You
Uh-huh.
have to divide it by
Okay.
how many times a year you pay. Okay, good. Comma. Gabe, what's next?
Oh, you need your years.
So that's just, that's part of it, but it asks how many times are you paying in total over the life of the loan? Am I making 5 payments?
You're making 60 payments?
Yes, and if you couldn't do that in your head, you can just put math right into the factor. I could do the 5 times 12 right in there. Or if you just know that 5 times 12 is 60, you would just put 60 in. Kate, what's the last field?
Principal,
Yeah,
the 7,000.
$136.14. My next question is then, Alexis, how much am I paying over the life of the loan if these are my payments? What's my total amount that I will be out of pocket at when I am done with this loan? Equals what times what?
Oh, 136.14
Yeah,
times, that's your monthly. Have you do the 5 times 12?
yeah, the 60, good. I'm making that payment every month for 60 months at the end of the life of the loan. Here's how much I've paid. Therefore, Philip, how much was my total interest that I paid over the 5 years? What minus what?
8,168 minus 7,000.
Yep. Installment loan. Where do I go, Asher, to pull up the template to do my amortization schedule?
I'm not sure actually.
Cameron, do you remember?
Is this, sorry for my camera not working, internet.
You're fine.
Is this where you go to Excel and you click on the new template? Or like,
Yep.
Yeah.
And loan amortization schedule. Voila. And if I put in the same data here, the 7,000 and the 6.25, and the loan period in years is 5, and I'm paying 12 times, and I don't have an optional extra payment. Boy, look at the payments are $136.14, and the total interest over the life of the loan is $1168.69, etc., etc. The beauty of this is you can say, gosh, if I want to sell this car after a year, how much do I owe on my note? I'm still going to owe $5,768.89, but I hope I can get that out of the car in a year. Okay, does everybody feel fairly okay with this so far? We looked at all this last week. All right, now back to, I'm flying through this because this is review. Okay, back to a discounted loan. These are a little bit trickier. Now, there's nothing magic about computing the finance charge. It's still interest times rate times time. I would have put 24/12 in here, not 2 years. And then you subtract the interest from the amount of the loan and you get a check for $8,400. And then you give them back 10,000 at the end of the life of the loan. What's the APR? So let's go back here and try one of those. So we've got them all in one place. I take out a loan. And by the way, you would only do this if you're not a great credit risk. Otherwise, why would you want to prepay your interest up front? And my rate is 2 7/8. And the term is 2 years. Calculate for me how much money they're going to give me. They're going to take the interest right up front. How much cash am I going to get? Calculate that for me, please. Nothing magic here. Principal times rate times time, right? Let me just make sure that this is all. Therefore, Katie, what am I getting a check for? What minus what?
The 20,000 minus the 1,150.
Yep. Okay, now, and then how much do I have to pay him back, Gabe, at the end of the life of the loan? Gabe. Hello.
20,000.
Yeah, so walk me through, please. I'm gonna just remind you here what the formula is. So now I'm trying to figure out my APR. Well, first off, let me ask Michaela, why can't I just go up and say my APR is 2.875? It's written right here. Why is that not correct?
Well, one, isn't that just for 1 year, or it's not an APR?
It is, but okay, let me back up. Sorry. This is an APR, right? But with a discounted loan, the real APR or the effective interest rate, that would be better. Sorry. The effective interest rate is not 2.875. How come? Philip, do you see how come? Why can't I just, if I ask you what the effective interest rate is on the simple loan, you tell me 5.4. On the installment loan, you tell me 6.25. Why on a discount loan can't you just go, hey, Lisa, duh, it's 2.875?
I actually don't know.
Well, this is the tricky part. Those discount loans are tough. Can anybody answer that question?
I know it's actually higher, but I don't know why.
It is higher. And the reason is, you guys, you're paying 2.875% on a much smaller amount than 20,000 because you only got 18,850 in your pocket. So you have to do this formula to figure out the effective interest rate. Now, the average annual interest is whatever this number was that you figured converted to 1 year. So in other words, if I paid $1,150 for 2 years, how do I get that down to 1 year? Yeah, divide by 2. I'm good at lip reading, Alexis. So I divide by 2. What's my average loan balance? Well, I mean, I got 18,850, so that's that. Divide that out and tell me what my APR is. Divide that out. This is your average annual interest. This is your average loan balance. What is my,
3.0?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
3.0.
Well, let's see. 575, 18,850. And just as Shasta predicted, it's higher than the APR. Because I'm paying interest, but I got less principal. Okay, so now I feel like you guys all basically did that pretty well. We did the simple interest calculation, we did the discount, we did an installment loan, we practiced doing our payment, we went and looked at our loan amortization schedule. So this was all review from what we did on Tuesday, and I feel like most of you were pretty there with that. The only one that we didn't get to on, or not Tuesday, that's Thursday, excuse me, was add-on interest. This is pretty rare, but I'm going to just show you really quickly. You calculate the interest over the full-time interest, or principal times rate times time. You add that to the principal, and then you divide by the number of periods to get your monthly payment. So let's just do a quick example of that, and then we'll look at the homework. So on this one, let's do the same example here, okay? So principal times rate times time. So do that first. What would be your interest if you had principal times rate times time on this guy up here, and then divide by the number of payments? And we'll get a number that's different from 136.14, right? Principal times rate times time. Now what should I do, Alexis? What do you think I should do next? Did you get that interest? Okay, can you unmute?
Yeah. So you divide it by the amount of months?
Yeah, but you've got to add that. That's my interest. What do I have to add that to?
Oh, to your 7,000.
Yeah, exactly. Right, so I'm going to add that to the 7,000 and divide by the number of payments. And look how much higher a month that is than this guy. Why is that? Katie, can you speculate for me why the payments were so much, or not so much, but 17 bucks a month more expensive here than here?
No, sorry, I was like reading out of my book.
Can anybody tell me that that's totally the key on the installment loan I paid every month? Why are these different numbers?
Lisa,
Yes.
what was the amount of payments that you divided by?
60.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Asher, you want to take a try at this? Why is that more than my installment loan where I pay every month?
Well, with the installment loan, you're subtracting your interest, right, from your payment. So over time, you're starting to pay less interest on your principal. But with the add-on, it's like you're paying on the total interest up front, so that the interest never goes down monthly.
The principal never goes down.
Oh,
Well, yeah, I guess both. Yeah, fair enough. So in an installment loan, let me just ask you this, Carson, and I'm just totally making this up, but say in month 1 on an installment loan versus month 24. I mean, I'm just completely making these numbers up. If my interest and just totally make the numbers up. If my interest in the first month is, you know, say $96, how much is my principal going to be on that $136.14 payment? So I'm paying this a month, and the first month I do the calculation, principal times rate times time, and this is $96. How much am I going to eat away at my principal?
By 96, I don't know. I'm a little lost.
What's my total payment?
Total payment would be the 96 plus the 130.
No, so this is my total payment every month, right, on my installment loan?
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the question now that you know what we're doing. If I have interest of $96 in the first month, how much is going to principal?
About $40.
Well, exactly $40.14, right?
Okay.
Okay, and I'm just making this up for illustration purposes. So Philip, in month 24, same loan, is my interest going to be higher or lower than $96?
It's gonna be lower
Why?
because your principal has gone down.
Yeah, my principal's gone down by 2 years worth. So now my interest is, you know, whatever, $74.13. What's going to happen to the amount that goes to principal? And I don't expect you to do this off the top of your head, but it's going to $62, right? Do the payments change, you guys, in an installment loan?
No.
Does this change? No. What changes is the allocation of the payment between interest and principal. In a month 60, it's like, you know, it looks like this. And again, I'm making up numbers, but just to illustrate. Where would you get these actual numbers from that we just did?
Your table that you had earlier.
We would go to the amortization table. Smiling and nodding. I'm feeling like some light bulbs are going off. It does. I mean, it takes hearing this, not like once or twice, but 3 or 4 times. Okay. These are the 2 kinds of loans that you're going to see. Simple loans and installment loans. Discount loans are pretty rare. You've got to have pretty bad credit to get them. And add-on loans, I don't even know who uses those. I don't even know why it's in the book, but it is. And so I'm sharing it with you. Okay, consumer loans. Now, the next question is, do we always, so say that I've got 20 grand. Which one was 20 grand? Let's not use that one. Let's use this one. I've got $7,000 sitting in my bank account. And I want this, you know, 10-year-old SUV. Why would I, well, let me rephrase that. Is there ever a situation, or is there an analysis between using cash or borrowing it? Or would you just always go get a loan, or would you always use the cash if you have it? Anybody have a weigh in on that? So I've got the 7 grand. I've got good credit. Do I just pay cash, or do I just always get a loan? Or what do you think the analysis is?
Well, I probably wouldn't want to pay all of the cash because you want to have like a little bit of an emergency fund. Like, what if you spend all that money and then something comes up and you don't have the cash anymore?
Great.
So,
great. It depends. Do you have 7 grand in your account or 70 grand in your account, right? So like, yeah, cash flow is a consideration. What else? What else am I concerned with?
If you pay with cash, you will only pay $7,000, whereas if you get a loan, you're going to lose money.
in any situation, if I get the loan, I've got an interest bill, period, end of story. Everyone agree? Right? So then my question was, if cash flow isn't an issue, like Michaela said, if I've got plenty of emergency funds, is there ever a situation where I would take a loan rather than paying cash if an emergency fund isn't an issue for me?
Depending on how much you like gambling, you can invest in the stock market if it's at a higher rate than the return
Okay,
than
now
the
we're
interest
getting
rate
somewhere.
of your loan.
I'm sorry, go ahead, I interrupted you.
So if you have like, you can invest your $7,000 at 7% in the stock market, and you can take out a loan for $7,000 at 3% APR. You could technically make more money by having your money make money for you while you're
Okay.
paying the loan.
So that's the payoff. That's what we're going to look at. Although I'm not going to be looking at it from the, you could take the money and then go throw it in the stock market. I've got my money sitting in a CD. What does that stand for again? Gavin, do you remember what CD is?
I do not. Sorry.
You're fine. Carson, do you remember what that is?
What was it? CD?
A CD. I've got my money in a 10-year CD.
No, I can't.
Okay, that's cool. Anybody remember what it is? Riley?
It's on the tip of my tongue.
So this was from our cash chapter. It's a certificate of deposit. And I'm so, appalled at the tiny interest rate I get in my savings account that I take my, 100 grand that I just inherited or I just sold my business for, and I don't want to put it in the stock market because I'm older and I don't want to take any risk. So I put it in a certificate of deposit and they pay me a higher interest rate, but I don't get my money back until the term's up. It can be a month, it can be a year, it can be 5 years, it can be 10 years. The longer I give them my money, the higher rate they're going to pay me. So now circling back to what my question was and what Gabe's response was, here's the situation. So you're going to write this down and then we're going to go look at this. Where is my little set of facts here? I have got so much stuff sitting in front of me. Okay. Oh, let me make this bigger. So I've got my friend Lucinda. This was actually something that I did for somebody. And she wants to buy a catamaran, and it's $111,755. And
5.2% loan.
one more time.
Is it 5.2% loan?
I've got to give you all that. So here's the rest of the facts. She can get an 8-year loan on it at 5.9%. It's an installment loan. You know how to do that. We got to figure out the payment, obviously, at some point in time. So if you need to get Excel loaded, you're probably going to need to do that. And or she can use sorry, I don't know what that original piece of paper was. Okay, well I don't know what this isn't right. Let's take that down. 3.9%. And she's got her money, she's got cash, she can pay for it. And her CD is paying her 5.9%. And then the last piece of information, which is kind of a blast of the past, is you need to know her marginal tax rate. And the reason you need to know her marginal tax rate is because you have to pay income tax on interest that you earn. And if you have a CD that's earning interest, you have to pay income tax on it. So my question based on this information is, what should she do? Should she take the $111,755 and go buy her catamaran? Or should she forego the interest, like her CD's coming up for renewal, and take the loan? So which should she do? So this is a problem called pay cash or finance, right? Should I pay cash or should I finance it? And it might seem like a rich man's problem at this stage of your life, but I can assure you that there'll be a lot of little things as you build some net worth that you're going to take a look at this and be like, Michaela's first comment was exactly appropriate. Is my emergency needs covered? Is, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And if not, or if so, sorry, my heater's going. If so, should I finance it? So I asked you to print out this guy. So we're going to fill it out, but you're going to need to use Excel, because the very first thing you have to figure out is the monthly payment. Do you have all the information you need to do the monthly payment, or to figure out the monthly payments? Do you think? Okay, so go ahead.
Sorry, the interest rate on the loan on this is 5.2.
On what?
On this sheet.
Okay, thank you.
Everything.
That was a piece of information I couldn't find, so I made up another one. I tell you, I'm a little disorganized. Okay, sorry, 5.2. That makes much more sense. Thank you, Katie. So first off, figure out the payment. Gavin, have you got there yet?
Not yet.
Anybody? All right, I'll give you a second. I'm gonna go grab some water. Okay, so help me write this, Shasta. What's the first field? What do I put for rate? So it's rate, comma, number of periods, comma, principal.
0.052.
Okay, can I stop there? That's the annual rate, but how often are my payments?
Divide by 12.
You always have to convert it to how many payments in a year. Otherwise, it's going to anticipate 5.2% per month of interest. So interest, comma, number of payments over the life of the loan, comma, principal. And if I can't do 8 times 12 in my head, just, you can put math right into the fields of Excel. Interest, comma, number of payments, comma, principal. There's my boat payment. The next two things you have to figure out, which we just did when we practiced this 20 minutes ago, is how much is she going to pay over the next 8 years if that's her payment, A. And B, how much is her total interest over the next 8 years? Got it? Does anybody want to ask a clarifying question?
Is this when we start plugging the information into that sheet that you told us to print out?
No, we've got the payments now. So really, if you just multiply it out, you can tell her how much she's going to pay over the next 8 years, right? And the difference between what she borrowed, $111,755, and what she's paying back over the next 96 months, that is the interest. You could get it from the sheet, Cameron, but you just don't need to. You can just do some really quick math right here.
Are you doing anything with the marginal tax rate right now?
No, that doesn't have anything to do until we calculate what tax she has to pay on the interest on her CD. This looks exactly like what we just did in the spreadsheet before where we practiced installment loans.
Is it 25,000 something? And when you subtract the one, oh, you add 115 since it's negative. Yeah, should be, yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to give everybody a chance to get there because there's no point going on if we're struggling to get to this point. So let's just make sure we're all on a level playing field here. And please don't be shy or like, oh, I don't get it and everyone else does. If you have an issue, just say, I don't know where it came from.
So where's that 136 from?
So let's back up and tell me what this number is, Carson.
That's the monthly payments.
Yep, and let me just, maybe we should just label that. So monthly payment. So the next thing I want to get is the total cost over the life of the loan. How many times am I making that $1,425.47 payment?
96.
Yeah, 96 times, right? Because it's an 8-year loan and I'm paying monthly. Got it?
So is that just the total amount of interest you're paying, or is that the total cost?
No. That's my payments. Because my payment, Philip, remember, is part what and part what? Every month.
The average interest divided by
Well, so each payment goes part to interest and part to
principal.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, yeah, it's just the interest plus the principal.
This is my total payments over the next 96 months. So it's some principal and some interest.
I don't know if it's something wrong with my calculator or something, but I'm getting the exact same answer, but 12 cents instead of 58.
Same.
It's probably just rounding up here. The payment probably goes out, you know.
Okay.
Decimals.
Oh, okay.
So everybody get this? This is how much I'm paying over the life of the loan. Therefore, how much is interest? Well, if I'm paying $136,845 and I borrowed $111,755, the difference has got to be interest. Yeah. just for frame of reference, you guys, this is exactly, where am I? What we just did. Oh, I don't know, I must have lost that. Oh no, here it is. That's exactly what we just did here on my payments were 136. How much did I pay over the 5 years? Therefore, how much was interest? Okay, that's exactly what we're doing here. No difference. Now we're going to plug these numbers into our little handy dandy sheet, and we're going to compare that. If I take the money, so right now I know it's going to cost me 25 grand to get this loan out of my pocket. What if I take that money, I don't put it in the CD? I'm going to lose a bunch of interest on my CD over the next 5 years, correct? I'm going to lose interest income. And I have to also recognize that that interest income I'm earning, a portion of that will go to taxes. So I don't get to keep it all. Because 22% of everything I earn goes to the tax man. So let's see what that looks like. Let me see if I can find this. Okay. Oh, this is, thank you. This is what you just told me. Okay. So I asked you to print out a couple of these, plug in the first 1A, 1B, and 1C. And two, well, all the way through number 4. This is what we just did. Okay. 1, 3, 6, 8, 5, 5.12. Okay, so there's that. So based on our earlier conversation, you're like, holy crap, I'm paying $25,000 in interest over the next 8 years. Of course, I'm just going to use my cash if I have it sitting in the bank. And the answer is maybe, but maybe not. The next thing we have to calculate, so we've calculated the cost of borrowing the money, right? Now it's like, there's actually a cost of paying cash. And the cost of paying cash is all the interest income I'm going to lose. The first thing you need to figure out for me is how much interest income does she earn every year on her CD? And it's a simple principal times rate times time. How much does she use? How much does she earn every year on her CD? Okay. So just do a simple calculation. She's got this money. Oh, I guess in this example, it was a cabin. I've been thinking about being in the ocean, so it was catamaran in the other example, but make your choice. How much interest does she make a year?
6593.55.
Yep. I can already see this is going to be a close calculation. So if she takes that money out of the bank, she can kiss this income goodbye, right? Every year. Stop me if you don't know where that came from. That was just a straight up 1 year of interest calculation. All right. Now, think about this a little bit. How much of that do I have to pay in taxes? What percentage of that, Alexis, do I have to pay in taxes?
22%.
I do. I have to pay 22% in that. So I don't get to keep the full $6,593.55. You better figure out what my tax bite is. And you know the highest marginal tax rate is any amount of when you've gone over to that next tax bracket, right? And this is actually a negative number because you don't get to keep all your interest. You have to pay part of it in taxes. So the last question is, how much, if she takes that money out of her CD and pays for the catamaran, she's going to lose how much over the next 8 years of take-home interest? So let me say that again. She's foregoing interest income for the next 8 years. She's not going to get this. This minus this is her take-home interest. If she forgoes that for the next 8 years, what's that going to look like? And it says line 1 minus line 2 times years in loan. No, that's a year, sorry. 8 years.
And it says 1480 instead of 1450.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, thanks, Philip. 1450. Okay, so equals.
Sorry, I thought that was important to the calculation. So
It is quite important. So what are we looking at now, you guys? Should she borrow the money or should she take the loan?
She should borrow.
Why?
Because, well, if you do the little subtraction, she ends up actually losing $16,000 if she decides to pay in cash and not keep that in her CD.
So find the difference, part 3 now. Find the difference in the cost of borrowing and the cost of paying cash. So it's, you know, obviously the 25 minus the 41. So this one minus this one. And then I give you a little cheat sheet. If this is a positive number, pay cash. If this is a negative number, borrow the money. But this should be intuitive to you that she's giving up 41 grand in after-tax income. And it's only going to cost her 25,000 to borrow the money. So first off, I want you to be like, wow, this is pretty impressive that I've come far enough that I actually know what all this stuff means. That's pretty good. And Secondly, that you can analyze two choices, right? And that you don't just say, gosh, that's a heck of a lot of interest, I'm just going to do that. I mean, you are in this situation, but you might not always. It obviously depends upon your tax bracket, the length of the loan, and the difference between what your CD is paying you versus, and like Gabe said, I mean, these numbers all change if you're just putting it, if it's in the market, your return, you're going to anticipate is going to be probably a lot higher than 5.9.
So how long would you leave the money in your CD for, the length of the loan?
Yep. Well, let me back up. CDs come in terms. You don't get to decide that. You enter into a relationship with your banker and it's like, hey, my money's parked for 5 years, 10 years, whatever. But yes, to apples would be 8 years. Okay, so what I wanted to do with the last 20 minutes, let's take a stretch and then let's look at your homework that's due tonight to make sure we're all on track. And then I'll talk about what's happening the next couple weeks, okay? So it's 2:59. I'll see you back here at 3:03. Okay, take a stretch. Okay, you ready to bring this home? Okay, so we've got the homework for this chapter is you've got 5, 10, and 11 due tonight, and then you've got 13A due next week. And 13A is like what we just did. It's a buy cash versus pay cash versus finance question. Okay, so I just want to take a quick look at the homework, make sure you all feel comfortable how to approach it. So on page 301, number 5, calculating APR, you've got a simple interest and a discount loan. Simple interest is just what it says, pretty simple, right? We just did that. On the discount loan, it's an 18-month loan. So to convert it to an effective interest rate on an annual basis, once you get the interest, what do you have to divide it by?
8.
Go ahead.
It'd be just you divide it by 18, right?
Well, 18/12, 1.5.
Yeah, that's sorry.
Yeah, yep, that's exactly right. So this is a pretty simple case. You're gonna calculate that effective interest rate for both methods, right? Okay, number, where am I? 10. So page 302, she's doing some comparison shopping, or he, I guess, decides to buy a Camry. Car has a price of $23,558, including plates and taxes. Because he can't afford to pay cash, he's going to use some savings, and he's going to use his old car as a trade-in to put down $3,558. So that's the amount that's going against the principal. And he plans to finance the rest with a $20,000 60-month loan. So I want you to use an amortization schedule on this. You definitely need to be like pretty proficient with those. So do that from number 10 and answer the questions. And go ahead.
Sorry, do you want us to turn in that?
No, I just want
to use
it's for your own good, you know, it's like you need to know how to do that.
Okay.
And then number 11, these really, you should probably, you shouldn't have too much trouble with these. So he's buying an audio system for his car, and he gets 2 different financing options. So I think you need to mute Katie. So it's okay. It's been happening all semester. So anyway, so calculate that out. And then 13A is what we just did, which is the cash or finance. So I just want to kind of tell you what's going on the next couple weeks, so that I feel, because I'm not going to see you on the on Thursday, right? Everybody knows that's a wellness day. Did I talk about that last week? Okay. And you know that you don't have any classes, and technically you're not supposed to have anything due either, because it's a wellness day, and you're supposed to plan something for yourself, right? Be creative or athletic or sleep in or whatever you want. So I'm not going to see you on the 4th. By the 9th, you guys, I think you need to have been through most of the review for the exam, because if you want to work additional problems, that's when we're going to do it. So I would absolutely plan on that. And then the test itself is on the 11th, right? Which is what, a week from Thursday. And then the 16th is another wellness day. And then we start in with all these guest speakers, which like damn near takes us to finals. So there's that. So what I'm going to do, let me just show you this really quick, and then we'll make this short and sweet. But I just want to make sure I don't know that I've done a really great job of getting this all the way together, but I just want to make sure so that you see this, because I'm not going to see you until the 9th. So what I'm doing in the way of a review is just putting a bunch of problems for you to practice on. But that's also, you're going to need to go back and review the PowerPoints, because that's where I get all the multiple choice and true and false, right? Reviews, test finals. And this looks a little different from yours because I've got a bunch of stuff that's closed and you don't see any of this, but.
Hey, Lisa,
Yeah,
I thought the semester ended in April.
it does.
Okay.
It does. Do you guys all know that the classes are done? Holy shit. April 23rd. April 23rd, classes are done. So finals week is the what would that be? 26th through 30th, and graduation's the 1st. Okay, so under the reviews section, right now I've got a review for test 2 practice 7 loaded. I'm going to do the same with number 6. So it's a bunch of practice problems. That's not all you need to review for the test. You also obviously need to go back through the PowerPoints and make sure that, you understand the different kind of, money market instruments and what's insured and what's not and all the stuff that we covered. But the numbers part is here other than a bank rec. So you need to make sure that you also know how to do a bank reconciliation. You will absolutely have a bank statement and then the worksheet, and you'll need to do that. Yeah, so that's what I have. Do you feel, so this isn't done. I've got to put the chapter 6 in here as well. Chapter 4 is also on the exam, but really mostly chapter 4 is the actual content. There wasn't so much numbers in that, I don't think. Okay, everybody good? Anybody want to do anything with the last 10 minutes or just call it DONE? Okay. All right. Have a happy wellness day. We'll see you next week. I'll stay on if anyone needs me. Cheers.
Thanks. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Hey, Lisa.
Yeah.
So I tried to send you back an email about the academic advising schedule. I don't think it said it didn't go through though. So.
Oh, really? Weird.
Yeah.
Hold on. Just your regular old email?
Yeah, I think it's because I tried to just directly
Oh,
reply,
yeah, I'm
so.
not sure what's going on there. Okay, what day and time was your preferred?
It was the earliest, which was like March 10th,
from
like
9
to 10.
Okay, cool. Well, let's just, Michaela, rather than do this 10 times, let's just schedule it for 9:30.
Okay, yeah, let me write that down.
Me too. All right, so March 10th at 9:30 a.m. and I'll send you a Zoom link.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Cool. See you, hon.
See ya.
Bye.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Gavin.
Hey, I just wanted to let you know what's going on. I've been kind of coming in the class later
Yeah.
because I've been going to these TA hours for organic chemistry that I've been having a hard time with. So
geez.
that's why I've been late, because it kind of the TA hours kind of go past when the class starts.
Okay.
So I've been
no
trying to
worries.
get on time, but yeah.
No worries. Do you, I think like today, for example, you should go back and listen to probably the first
Yes.
20 minutes
Mhm.
because we worked through a lot of reviews. So I want you to make sure that you get that, okay?
Yeah, I'll be going back and watching the parts that I did miss in the lecture. So,
Okay, cool. Thanks for letting me know, Gavin. I
Yep.
appreciate that.
Yep, thanks. You have a good day.
Bye. Thanks, you too, bud. Hey, Cameron.
Hey, Lisa. I'm having internet issues and I missed what we were talking about today's homework.
Oh, right. Yeah. So basically, you mean what's due?
Yeah, you went over the problems and kind of briefly explained to us what we were doing. I think we
Oh, yeah,
missed-
really, there isn't anything. Based on what we did today, the homework should be incredibly clear.
Okay, and you were saying something about number 10 and we using something. What was that? Because that was when I cut out.
Oh, I said use the loan amortization schedule like we practiced.
Which one is that again?
That's when we go into Excel into the template and just plug in those 4 numbers
Okay.
and then it poofs out the whole schedule.
So that's so like number 10 will look like we're just gonna go in and
You're gonna do the loan amortization schedule, then you're gonna get the answers from there. And then that is the homework.
and then just looking at the problem, what is the trade-in to put down the 3,500?
That's like a down payment. So the whole thing costs 23,558, but he's trading in his old car for 35,58. So he only needs to finance the other 20,000.
Oh, okay. And is that where you put in the optional extra payments on the?
Nope, nope. That's you're just putting in the 20,000 as the principal.
Oh.
An optional extra payment is when you're making an extra payment every month.
Okay. So are we ignoring the price of the car and then the put down?
Well, you're not, but they did the math for you. 23,558.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. I see what's
Okay.
going on. Okay. That was just the background of it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think I should be good to go. Hopefully I can get the homework done. So yeah.
Okay. It's not hard homework.
Yeah. I have been struggling a little bit with this chapter just because
I know, and we're gonna do a whole nother. We're gonna look at it again before I can tell everyone's been struggling with it. We're gonna do a whole nother day of reviewing this, but go try and do the review problems for chapters 6 and 7 before we meet next week,
Tuesday.
so that you can ask
Okay.
any questions.
Okay. Yep. For sure.
Okay,
All right. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
thanks. Take care, Cameron.
Yep. You too.
Bye.